Today I'm going to be analyzing one of my own replays. I'm playing Visage position 4 and we're going to talk about what to do if you're behind in a game, and I'm primarily going to focus on analyzing the own mistakes I make in my gameplay here.
Lessons that cannot be unlearned.
Welcome to the Judge of Obelisk. My name is Jorn. So we have a pretty strong lane here. Visage Axe is actually really strong, fits quite well together. They cover each other's weaknesses quite well. They're strong in the lane and just strong in the later stage of the game, because Visage of course has the problem of not being an SF initiator. He doesn't have any reliable disable, and that is exactly what Axe covers up. But then Axe is kind of a hero that really wants to get a Blink Dagger and a Blade Mail, so he's not really much for buying these aura items. Even later he kind of wants to buy a BKB if he can get away with it. So that is something that Visage can fill in for him. So they just work really well together. But here we're laning against a Disruptor and a Monkey King. And Monkey King is one of the worst matchups in the game for Axe, quite possibly the worst one. So this lane is going to be really tough, and honestly, what we should have been doing, and we talked about later after the game, is we should have just not just played this lane straight up. We should have just been abducting creep waves. I should have just been there, taken the second creep wave, pulled it behind the tower here or something like that, just to disrupt this equilibrium and just not have to deal with this wave. Or instead we could have also just backlaned here, which would be a bit risky against Monkey King, but it's still probably better than just straight up play here. So Axe gets splints back. I try to go in there and try to help him, but in the process I also get in a really vulnerable position, and I almost get out that second solar assumption. Would have been the kill and Disruptor, but not quite. So first blood goes to Monkey King, and yeah, that was a bit too aggressive for me. I should have been more careful there, and I probably actually survived even without my intervention. So the reason Visage works really well with Axe is that in an Axe lane typically you just have a lot of people taking damage. Axe tends to run in, and then he takes a bunch of damage, but the enemies also take a bunch of damage from like a spin and from the battle hunger. So just a lot of people are taking damage, and that's just excellent for your soul assumption. It's really easy to get those stacks up, and then all the nuke damage that comes out from Visage, you can very often get kills in the early game. But against Monkey King it's a bit more difficult because he can heal himself up with his Jingo stacks, so you generally can't burst him down with your soul assumptions. So if anything, we need to be going Disruptor, but of course if you go Disruptor, then the Monkey King can come in there and get his stacks up, so it's really tough. A bit out of position there, a bit too far forward. My creep wave is far back, so I get glimpsed here, and I'm not really respecting that glimpse enough, but I managed to escape here, so all is fine. But that was kind of a close call. I might have easily died here again. So far the lane's going okay. I mean, I died once, but in terms of last hits, Axe is only moderately behind Monkey King, and they're both level 3, they both have about the same experience. So far things are actually fine, but they're about to get much worse. And really the first two levels Monkey King is not that strong. It's really once he hits level 3 or level 4 that things really start to get ugly. And from this point really we should not be playing this lane straight up. But unfortunately we're just going to continue doing that, and Axe not trying to go Disruptor, and that is actually a very good go here, even though it doesn't get a kill or anything like that. It gives me time to collect the bounty runes, so this is going really well. But on the other side of the map, their position 4 is also going to be able to collect both the bounty runes, so that evens out. The enemy are making a lot of use of that camp here, pulling in a lot and sort of forcing us to come out and fight, and that is where we're in a vulnerable position where they can potentially get kills on us. So we have to be very careful here and try not to overextend, which is quite hard against Monkey King and Disruptor. But I'm just trying to stay back here, trying to not be envisioned too much. And if they go on Axe, that's fine, because then he's reasonably tanky. He's gonna do a lot of damage back to them, the counter helix, and then I can just get off lots of damage with my soul assumption. I stick around here, use this low Monkey King to be able to get that Centaur. And now I'm trying to trade with Disruptor, but I'm staying a bit too long here. And I'm gonna die here, I know that. I'm just gonna try to get that second Soul Assumption out, and I do, and this allows Axe to claim the kill. So now it's a 1-for-1 trade, and here in this case my core got the kill, but it's their support who got the kill, so this is actually probably slightly favorable exchange here. Now that Axe on his own, he thinks he can actually fight here, and he gets a good call here, but let's see how this plays out. By the way, this Monkey King doesn't have Chingo stacks yet, that's just a replay bug. So at the start things go well, but now he gets his mastery stacks up, and then he can just easily kill him with a boundless strike. So why did that fight go so poorly? Well, if we rewind here, you're going to see that Axe has boost of speed and the wind blades, which are reasonable items, gives him a lot of movement speed, but these are not items that help you in a straight up fight. The only item that really helps him in a straight up fight is that one with like 4 charges here. So for that fight he really only has like 450 relevant net worth. Whereas the Monkey King, what does he have? He has Treads, which of course helps out a lot. He has Wraith Band, he has Iron Branch, lots of stats here, some extra attack speed, that helps him out a lot, and then Overvenom in the straight up fight also not that important. So he has like close to 2000 relevant net worth here, whereas Axe is like 450. And in terms of the actual total net worth, they're not that far apart. Monkey King is on the top here. He does have more, he has like 600 more, but 1000 net worth of Axe is like tied up in gold in the bank, and this chainmail in the base, plus these movement speed items that don't help you in a straight up fight. So that's why this exchange goes extremely well for Monkey King and so poorly for Axe. And it's the nature of Monkey King with that boundless strike here through all those creeps and those Jingle stacks. He can just refill his entire life, and he gets the kill and still is on full life, so really problematic now for us. The enemies are doing some pulling here and trying to do some stacking here. I try to disrupt this stack here. I do that successfully, but now the question is just how am I going to get out alive here? And the answer, surprisingly, is I'm not. So yeah, that was way too cocky for me. It was way too far forward, and Axe now also in trouble. I'm going to try to play his way out of this. Gets a nice call here, of course with that extra armor, helps a lot. And yeah, he dodges the Monkey King jump here, and he's going to be fine, albeit on very low HP, so as I respawn I buy a cell for him, and I'm going to heal him up once I get back here. So yeah, at this point Monkey King is very, very far ahead. He's gotten 3 kills and 1 assist. This is a very fat monkey. Since we're very far behind here in this lane, I placed this really defensive ward, helps out when the enemies come towards our triangle, or if Monkey King tries to jump on these trees, we're going to see him coming. Usually you're going to of course put your ward farther forward, but since we're losing the lane by so much, I felt this defensive ward was warranted. And like right now I'm just sort of hanging out in the lane, not really doing very much. And that's definitely one of the disadvantages of Visage as a support, is that like right around this stage of the game, you're like level 4, level 5, you're not really doing that much. You don't have your birds yet, and you're not really that much stronger than you're like a level 1 or level 2 Visage. And it's kind of awkward. You can't really jungle, you can't really rotate very effectively, and so I just end up pulling this wave here. Get it a little bit too late, only get the range creep, but that's fine. Now the runes are coming up, so Monkey King is gonna snatch this rune, and now he thinks he can fight, but actually 1 vs 2, he's in a bit of trouble. Now with the Disruptor coming in, he nicely dodges my Soul Assumption and has to get out of here. So we're gonna be able to claim that other rune, and now with the tome coming out, I'm going to be level 6, so if you're having a tough lane, the tome is really often your saving grace. I was hanging out a little bit in mid, but not really getting much done, so now Axe is once again being gone on I tried to maybe save him, but it's not going to happen. So I retreat behind the tower, and now that I'm level 6, I'm actually fairly capable of fighting, and especially against a disruptor I can fairly easily get a kill if he gets out of position. And even against Monkey King, I might not be able to kill him, but I can probably get away from him. It's also why I skilled the 2nd level in Grave Chill. Usually as a support I would leave that at 1, but here in this lane it's quite important to just have that extra movement speed to be able to get away. And so if Monkey King goes on me, I can just slow him. I can have these 2 stuns to build some distance from him, so it's actually not that easy for them to kill me. And with us having lost the lane by so much, Axe is going to just jungle a little bit, try to get a stagger that way, and meanwhile I'm just going to chill in the lane, and I'm actually harder to kill here than the Axe, so this kind of makes sense, this arrangement. Also my hero is like better at threatening towers, so kind of makes sense for Axe to farm the triangle and so take that safe farm. Problem is that this sort of takes away space from Arc Warden, and Arc Warden in voice was complaining a bit in this game about, you know, Axe taking all this farm and, you know, not creating space. But it's kind of difficult as Axe if you're had a rough laning stage and you're so far behind. It's not very easy to really make plays without Blink Dagger. So he's just going to farm a bit, and I'm going to farm a bit, just hanging out in the bottom lane. And, you know, even though our lane was a bit of a disaster, the other lanes went well. But the thing is just that the enemy won bot lane really hard and lost the other lanes by a little bit. So right now the game is like roughly even. The enemy are like 1k ahead, but it's not very much at this stage of the game. But this Monkey King really sort of riding roughshod over us at the moment, getting kill after kill, already 6 kills. And we're not really getting too much in compensation here. Juggernaut also in trouble, is also going to die. So right now things are not looking too hot. But in the meantime, our beleaguered offlane is here getting a whole bunch of farm here in the mid lane and the off lane. So we are catching up. And a big part of the reason why those fights on the top went so poorly is just that you're not really supposed to play this part of the map if you're the Dire. You're supposed to play, you know, in this part of the map. This is really where you're supposed to play at this stage of the game. That's just where the map architecture is more favorable towards you. So our teammates were complaining a bit that you know, Axe was farming too much and that I was farming too much. But honestly, they should be coming to us, not me coming to them. We should be playing the bot lane more. So even though my team is suffering a bit, I'm loving life. Visage is a very XP hungry hero. Definitely want to get that level 2 familiars as soon as possible. That's a huge power spike. So whenever you can find an empty lane, that's an excellent thing to do as Visage. And this is actually also reasonably safe. Like, yes, the enemy can kill me if they rotate a bunch of heroes, but like 1 or 2 heroes not gonna kill me most likely. They're gonna try here with Monkey King and Lina, but with these slows and these stuns, I'm able to play my way out of this, and they don't actually catch me. So, and now of course you don't want to rotate like 3 heroes just to kill a support. To make this lane a bit safer, I actually brought myself a couple of sentries, and I'm going to place this here away from the cliff, giving vision on the high ground with my birds. That's always how we want to de-ward this Visage. Never place the ward directly on the cliff, but just place it near the cliff, so you can get vision with your birds and cover a greater area. So I would also find wards that were like here, for example. So now my team wants to invade the enemy jungle, which is a fine move. Place down some vision, possibly. We don't really have wards right now, but yeah, we can also, of course, de-ward enemy wards. So we find another observer ward here. So I'm 2 for 2 with my sentry. So that is something that's going really well for me. And in terms of item builds, I talked a lot about item builds in my big Visage guide, so check that out. Basically always you want to go for Medallion as a support Visage, or generally as Visage. Support, you generally skip the Dominator, which you get as a core, but as support generally straight for the medallion, and after that it's quite flexible. Here in this game I'm going to opt for a pipe, which is quite an expensive item as a second item, but pipe is really strong here because there's a lot of magic damage in the enemy team, and Axe, as we talked about, kind of wants to get a blade mail early. He doesn't really want to go for an early pipe. So now that's my job in this game, so that's what I'm going to go for here. We're trying to take the middle tower, but of course the enemy want to defend that. That's the most important tower in the game, an important prize, so I'm going to try to go in here with my familiars, but unfortunately that Pangolier hits a very good swashbuckle, killing one of my birds, and at the same time reducing my Gravekeeper's Glow counter so that the birds just die very quickly. So I was a bit too far forward with my main hero there, could have been a bit farther to the back, and then we might have gotten that tower, but as it is, we now have to retreat. I lost one bird, so in this situation I should be resummoning familiars right now and sending them on Tinker. I only have one familiar anyway, so I might as well resummon here, and this way I can put out some good damage on Tinker, who just blinked forward, so it's quite vulnerable. But instead I kind of panic here a bit and forget about resummoning my familiars, and so now Tinker is going to be able to TP out here. I have one bird left, but it's Stormfront still in cooldown, so I'm not going to be able to interrupt the TP, but if I had resummoned those birds right away, would have gotten that kill. So very unfortunate here, unfortunate misplay, and I think now I finally resummoned my birds. So fortunately I was not hit by that swashbuckle, and here you can see the power of the Gravekeeper's Cloak. I still had 2 charges, and so I get hit by the ultimate and only take a little bit of damage here. So that's what level 4 Gravekeeper's Cloak can do for you. But eventually I'm going to tick down to that Thunder Strike. But this is still an okay fight. My birds unfortunately run into those Martian machine things, and without your Gravekeeper's Cloak stacks they die very quickly, so I lose another bird here. But still, overall, this fight was, fairly even, slightly favorable for us actually, because we're a bit behind here. But if I had played this a little bit better, if I had summoned my birds earlier, probably would have survived. We would have gotten the Tinker kill, and the fight would have been a clear win for us. But as it is, still an okay fight. Arc1 is doing what Arc1 is supposed to do and taking risky farm with his clone. Clone is being gone on, and our Axe responds to that, tries to get a call in here, but the Disrupt ultimate disrupts him. So now we want to sort of retreat here. We got the ultimate out, we don't want to fight up here without getting a good call, but now Monkey King unfortunately gets the perfect Boundless Strike, gets 3 of us, immediately eliminates AA, and here I'm like a bit too slow in dropping my birds. I should have dropped them before, because there's all these stuns coming in. These birds are going to be stun locked, and I have no resummon, so it's very important not to lose the birds here. Also cards in the Monkey King ultimate, I need to get out of here, but there's no getting out here. So we just all die here, and they even got, I think, get this clone here. So yeah, they got 2 birds, they get like 2 clones in this whole sequence here, and 3 heroes without really losing anything except some cooldowns. So right now the game is not looking good, and the enemy are far ahead. Let's see the 7k up here. That is not a position you want to be in, even though we do have the stronger late game with our Arc Warden here. One saving grace for us here is that the enemy don't really do much tower damage, and also another saving grace is that our Juggernaut's getting some nice kills here. They're killing that Monkey King, obviously really valuable. He's by far the most farmed hero in the game, so that by itself is like a huge swing. Runes are coming up, and we don't know where the enemy are, but sometimes you have to take risks, so I'm going to fly in with that bird, deny 1 rune, and claim the other one. It's always a nice move you can make, denying those runes with your familiars. And sure, I might lose a familiar there, but the runes are quite valuable, and if you're behind the game like that, you have to take some risks here. I'm pushing on the top wave, the dead lane here, and that's fine as far as it goes, but I really don't need to be there with my hero. It's fine to just do this with the birds, and so I actually end up being gone on, and they come in a lot here to kill me. So, but the problem with that, of course, is that now Tinker's in a bad spot. He gets found out and gets killed, and the monkey ult not really doing that much. So even though they killed me, they also committed a lot onto me. So now the rest of my team can clean up. I'm going to try to find that Monkey King with my familiars, but it doesn't quite work out. But actually I almost found him here. It's not too far away here, but he does make it out. But still, of course, a hugely favorable fight for us. Unlike the enemy team, our team is actually really good at taking towers, so we quickly take this tier 1 tower, and then we want to get out of here. We don't want to really play this part of the map unless we have to. Here I could have been stacking this camp here for Juggernaut, but what I definitely shouldn't have been doing is and just farm this camp. That's something that you very, very frequently see low MMR players do. They're just, playing support or any role really, and they're sort of running next to their carry and just like farming one of the camps near where the carry is farming. Just like, don't do that. Your carry needs to farm efficiently, and if you just like, if he's farming this camp and you're farming this camp, that's not efficient. He needs to move from this camp to this camp to this camp, to these camps, or to the mid lane. Don't just farm somewhere in between and disrupt your carry's farm pattern. That's very bad. We found an enchanted quiver here, which I'm going to claim on Visage. This is an item that I feel is like one of the most underrated neutral items in the game here. Does so much DPS, it's good on basically any ranged hero. We're in a bit of a fight that doesn't really make much sense here. We shouldn't be in this area of the map, and I shouldn't have been trying to help my teammates here because there's no way we can win this fight. I would have just been running here, and I die. My birds are also gonna die. Yeah, just like, don't play this part of the map unless you maybe smoking the S5 or something like that. So we look at Tinker, and our Juggernaut is going to get this Disruptor here. Still, it's not really a worthwhile fight. It's still definitely favorable for our opponents here. Also get this Arc Warden clone, which feeds quite a bit of gold. Monkey here giving us a free gift, pushing on this wave in a very cocky fashion, and it's going to be gone on here by AA and by Arc Warden. We're getting very low. I'm also going to TP in here to help out. And yeah, with Axe coming in, that's an easy kill. And now we actually have 3 heroes dead, one of them for a very long time. So right now we should be thinking about doing Roshan. So we do indeed head into the pit, and before we do so, it's important to have some vision here and deny the opponent vision. So I'm going to de-ward this Observer Ward here, and the opponent probably still suspect that we're doing Roshan, but this way they don't precisely know. And it's important when you use the Grave Chill to know whether the Lincolns on Roshan has been popped. In this case, it was popped by Axe with his Battle Hunger. If it is not the case, you're going to have to use Soul Assumptions to pop it. It's quite expensive in terms of mana, but Grave Chill is really important on Roshan. Really helps with the process, makes it a lot easier because you're taking less damage from Roshan, and also your birds do much more damage. And of course, with all the physical damage we do, and with that medallion and so on, that Roshan goes quite well. And that is one of the big advantages our lineup has, is that we're just much better at taking these objectives. Both buildings and Roshan, we just do so much more damage. Whereas they are good at killing us and sort of holding off pushes with that Tinker, but they're not really good at taking objectives themselves. So with that freshly minted Aegis, we're going to try to do a bit of a push here in the mid lane. I'm this time positioning myself quite well. I'm outside Monkey Ultimate, but with all the stuff flying in, my birds are still taking a decent amount of damage, but I'm managing to stay safe here, and we secure those kills, and we also find some mangoes here, which is always welcome. And now we can take that tower, and I should be hitting my birds here. I'm probably standing a bit farther back with my hero. That's a bit risky what I'm doing here. So yeah, it's always just stay safe with your hero. As long as your hero is safe, your birds are safe. So we get that tower, and now we're even looking for the high ground. We still have the, or actually don't have the Aegis anymore, but we do have 2 people dead in the enemy team, so we claim that tower, and my birds are kind of in trouble, so I drop them. And at this stage you just want to actually stay a bit further back, stay off the high ground, actually hit with the birds and stay somewhere like here, and have that added safety here. We're gonna take those Raxes, and now it's time to move back. So it's fine for that Arc Warden to blink forward here. That's actually quite nice. Distracts the enemy. Does feel a little bit of gold, but secures our safe escape, so definitely worth it. And now we actually have a big advantage in this game. My next item is going to be Solar Crest. Solar Crest, of course, a very strong item on Visage, and especially strong when you have a hero like Juggernaut who likes to stay in the front lines. You can just always spam that Solar Crest onto him and just give him a huge advantage with all that attack speed, movement speed, and armor. And for Arc Warden, it's also like decent item to put on him, but it's not nearly as impactful because you can only put it on either his main hero or his clone, and so you're not boosting all of his damage output. And also Arc Warden is kind of a squishy-ish ranged hero, so once the enemy actually go on him, 8 armor is often not going to make much of a difference, but in Juggernaut it makes a big difference. When you're far ahead in a game like this, one of the most powerful moves you can make is just buy a gem. Especially in a hero like Visage, gem is so powerful because you can easily deward all those high ground ward spots with your birds, and if you're ahead like this, you can just completely close out the game, deny the enemy any map vision, and also just the gem is going to pay back for itself if you just deward a couple of wards. So I think that actually should be my next item here, and I think I go for a gem eventually in this game, but it's at a point where the game is already completely decided anyway, so it doesn't really make much of a difference, but now would be a really perfect time to buy a gem. Right now I'm a bit too far back. I should definitely be closer to my team. We want to sort of control the exits to their base, control their triangle area, control their jungle, and not let the enemy escape and farm. So as long as we're like on the open playground, we can definitely win a fight here. But for some reason, our Arc Warden is definitely trying to sort of force things here with that clone here, and our Juggernaut also trying to make some plays here. We get the tower here, which is nice, but not that impactful ultimately. And now we're going to jump in here. We're actually only 4 versus 5. Axe is not even in this fight. He's collecting runes right now. But definitely this is not the time to try to go for this high ground push here. I guess you can sort of siege quite well with Arc Warden, but actually coming into high ground is super risky, and it's not going to go well. Also, at this point, I definitely should have been using my pipe already. That definitely shouldn't be this far forward. This is way too far forward here. My birds here being here is fine, but I should be like this far forward, somewhere like here at the most. Never this far forward. I'm just like right in front of that Lina. That's a terrible positioning on my part. Let's see how this plays out. Pangolier comes in here with his Blink Dagger and ultimate, and we just get shredded. I still haven't activated my pipe, still haven't landed those birds. I'm very late on everything in this fight, and finally land those birds, actually save them for the moment, and this fight is not even going terribly so far, but that's a testament to how far we are ahead. And yeah, it's not going to get any better from here. Our Juggernaut is also going to die, so we lost 4 heroes, and Axe wasn't even this fight, and yeah, by the time we arrived there, obviously he couldn't have gone in there. It was already too late. Yeah, that was like completely terrible. really big misplay from everyone on our team. And yeah, just from my part, it is definitely positioning so important on Visage, and obviously need to activate that pipe at the start of the fight and not wait for that. So now our Hagron is being pushed, but the problem with their lineup is they just don't do a lot of tower damage. So we're not too afraid, we don't really need to use buybacks here. We can just sort of gently defend this, push out that creep wave. Axe jumping forward is a bit risky here, but it is going to work out just fine here. Get the Monkey King kill here and escape. Honestly, that's a move you don't need to do here. Also a bit slow on dropping that second bird, so now I have to play with one bird for a long time. It's always just important to be very quick with that, dropping those birds, because it just takes longer than you expect, and just losing the bird right after you resummon it is so painful. I had my Basilius for a very long time, just a really efficient item in the lane, gives you so much regen, and now I finally upgraded to Vlad's. Vlad's is almost always like a pretty good item in the mid and late game. In this particular lineup it's not that fantastic because we have healing word anyway for sustain, so it's not like a high priority item, but this stage of the game is definitely something you can go for, and also of course going to help with that Roshan, help us take less damage here. So we're going to claim this Roshan very easily, enemy not really trying to contest us here, so that is a huge gain. Of course, we're going to put our Aegis on Juggernaut and Cheese on Arc Warden, and now we're ready to try high ground again. Also, my birds are back, I immediately resummon them, very important not to wait on that. We want to go high ground in the bottom lane because the tower's already gone there. Problem is our creep is just not there yet, and if you go all the way back there it just takes a very long time. So just going to wait for the creep wave to push in naturally, and I think yeah, AA is also going to send a blast there, speed that process up a little bit, and that creep wave is eventually going to push in here for us, but we just get access to those Raxes with that mid lane pushing in. So Arc Warden sending his clone in there and getting some damage down. Of course with BKB you can get a lot done here onto those Raxes and just eventually take them down. So this works like kind of similar to what Quake did in that other Arc Warden game that I covered on my channel recently, where they just kept sieging the base with Arc Warden clones, and in that game the Panda Brewlings. But here we just have the clone, but it still has plenty of damage, forces out, disrupts ultimate here, and once again a bit too far forward here. Having my birds forward like that is okay, but I'm getting a bit overeager here. Now I have to play without birds for 30 seconds, but it's okay. Our Juggernaut gets out, uses Aegis, and paying an Aegis to get full lane of Rax of course is an excellent trade. So once again Arc Warden is going to jump forward with the clone and secure our escape that way. We still have our cheese, even though we used the Aegis, so we're gearing up for this top push. Axe is still a bit away from us, but the enemy now decides to engage, and I here very smartly move away with my hero, try to get out of this, but the Monkey King ultimate is a bit too big, but still I managed to walk out of here, and now I'm just gonna wait for that Monkey King ultimate to expire before I can really rejoin that fight. So our Axe doing quite well now. He's just joined us, and Tinker in a bit of trouble, so you just want to stay back here as best you can and go for these squishy targets like Lina and Disruptor. You die really quickly to your birds, and this Monkey King also has no damage block. He doesn't have Abyssal Blade or anything like that, so he's also actually going to die quite easily to my birds, and Axe claims double kill here. I also just did really well in that fight, so this is how well fights can go if you get proper positioning. And I mean, still Monkey King ultimate caught me for a little bit here, but I managed to survive and just rejoin afterwards, so we're able to sort of come out on top in that fight. They used a bunch of buybacks, so we can't really push high ground right now, but it's extending our net worth leads even further, and of course removing their buybacks. And now finally I'm buying that gem that I talked about earlier. It's going to help us put a lid on that game. And I'm also buying mech. It's like a reasonable item here, just gives us some more sustain, some more health to play with in this late game scenario here, and just helps us not get bursted down by all of their spells. And it's also just a slot efficient item because I can upgrade it to Guiding Grief so that I can sort of make better use of my slot, especially now that I have this gem. If I went for an item like drums, for example, that's a really efficient item, but it also uses up a whole slot for a 2k item. So sort of gearing up for the late game with that move into Guiding Griefs. And in terms of talents, I went for the +5 Great Risk Cloak stack talent here on level 25. This is very important. You saw me in lots of these fights losing all my stacks and then my birds just die. So if you have the extra stacks, there you have a lot more leeway, you have a lot more room to play around with. So it's almost always the better talent, especially as a support. Pretty much only go for the familiar talent if your familiar is not dying in the first place. It's much better to have 2 familiars that are alive and well than 3 familiars that are constantly dying or spending most of their time on the ground or having to run away. Our Juggernaut just got a random kill on Lina, so we're taking this as an opportunity to go high ground. We have that cheese on Juggernaut, he's going to be our frontliner, and with spin in the front lines, it's going to be very easy for us to actually claim this last access. I'm a bit too far forward here once again, but we're so far ahead in the stage of the game that it's okay. Also just with those level 25 talents, the extra charges in Great Risk Cloak, I can sort of afford to be farther forward, so even though I just took a bunch of damage, my cloak charges just respawn very quickly, and I just have so many of them that I'm not really dipping below 3, so my familiars is doing work, and you're going to be able to clean up this game. So if you like this video, please share it with your friends or on social media. And if you haven't done so already, please join the fold by subscribing and hitting the bell. And before you go, I would invite you just to take a look at my very in-depth Visage guide. If you haven't seen that already, just click the video on the screen, and Obelisk willing, I'll see you there.